morning, everyone. Welcome to the presentation for Group 5, Final Report on Alcoholism, prepared for Falsafah that Isu Semasa under the guidance of Madam Nik Solehah, Binti Nik J. Before we begin, we want to sincerely thank Madam Nik Solehah for her guidance and support throughout this presentation. Her advice has been a great help in exploring the topic of alcoholism in Malaysia and preparing this report. Today, we'll be addressing an important issue: alcoholism. It's a problem that affects individuals, families, and our society as a whole. This presentation will highlight key points from our reports and discuss how we can work together to tackle this challenge. Let's get started. Let's take a moment to appreciate the fantastic teamwork that brought this presentation to life. Each member of Group 5 contributed their unique skills and dedication. I'm Harry, and a heartfelt thank you to Cassy, Jasmeen, Kaveenesh, Shaira, Uma, and Jasmeen for their hard work and commitment. Your efforts truly made this possible, and I am truly proud to be a part of this incredible team. Thank you, everyone. Before we dive into the topic of alcoholism in Malaysia, I'd like to start by asking you all a simple yet profound question. How often do we truly consider the unseen struggles happening behind closed doors? Family silently breaking apart, communities losing their moral compass, and individuals battling their inner turmoil. Alcoholism is a problem that shouts. It's one that whispers, slowly unraveling the very fabric of society. In our country, this issue is layered with complexity, influenced by our rich cultural heritage, religious beliefs, and echoes of historical forces. What we are about to discuss isn't just statistics or theories. It's a deep exploration of the impacts, challenge, and responsibilities we all share in addressing this growing concern. Let's take a look at how alcoholism has enriched itself into our life and why the call to action has never been more urgent. Alcoholism is merely a personal struggle. It's a silent epidemic that weaves its way into every layer of society. In Malaysia, the grip of alcoholism is profound. It impacts personal life, care across family, and distant communities. But it doesn't stop there. The issue is deeply entwined with our culture and religious complexity, affecting not only health but also morality and governance. It's more than just a drinking problem. It's a systematic challenge with far-reaching consequences that demands our collective attention and action. Let's break this down. First, the Islamic perspective. Alcohol is prohibited under Sharia law, yet enforcement struggle leave many Muslim victims in silence. Fear of judgment prevents them from seeking help, creating a hidden crisis that demands both compassion and action. Next, colonial influence. British colonization normalized alcohol as a symbol of status and entertainment, leaving a legacy that continues to shape perception today. How do we overcome this inherited mindset and restore cultural harmony? Finally, individual struggles. In our fast-paced, multicultural society, many turn to alcohol as a temporary escape, but what starts as a solace often spirals into action, affecting not just individual but everyone around them. Alcohol isn't just a personal issue, it's a societal challenge. We must connect individual responsibility with institutional support and cultural understanding. Together, through awareness, policy, and compassion, we can build a Malaysia that thrives on harmony, not addiction. Our objectives are not just about understanding the problem of alcoholism in Malaysia, they are about creating meaningful change. Alcoholism is not a standalone issue. It intertwines with our nation's values, history, and diversity. Let me guide you through how we plan to address this challenge. First, we'll delve into the philosophy dimension of alcoholism. The teachings of Islam, with its prohibition of intoxicants, serve as a moral framework. We also consider the historical normalization of alcohol during British colonization, which shaped societal attitude. Finally, Cartesian dualism highlights the individual struggles between the mind and the body, a lens for understanding addiction as both physical and psychological. Second, our approach ties directly to the principle of Rukun Negara. Belief in God calls for spiritual discipline, while loyalty to the king and the country emphasize collective responsibility and governance. Together, these principles provide a moral and legal structure to address the issue comprehensively. Lastly, we aim to develop cultural sensitivity solution. Malaysian diversity requires us to approach this issue with inclusivity. Our strategy respects the belief and practice of every community, ensuring no one is left out in the fight against alcoholism. Our objective form a bridge between understanding and action by combining philosophy, national values, and cultural sensitivity. We aim to create a society that stands united against alcoholism, a society that is healthier, more inclusive, and strong.
Hello everyone, I'm Kaveenesh Tharmalingam. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. What is alcoholism? Is it just someone drinking too much? Or is it something deeper? Something more insidious? Today, we'll explore the layers of alcoholism. What it really is and why it's not just a habit but a disorder that devastates an individual and families alike. Alcoholism or alcohol use disorder AUD is far from a simple case of overindulgence. It's a chronic disease where an individual experiences an intense craving for alcohol and inability to stop drinking even when knowing it's ruining their relationship, careers, and health. It's a silent thief that sneaks into lives, taking away autonomy and leaving chaos at its wake. Over time, the body adapts to the presence of alcohol, creating both physical, psychological dependence. This dependence goes hand in hand with tolerance, the need to consume large amounts to feel the same effects. The result? Escalating alcohol use that damages liver, brain, and other organs. What starts as a coping mechanism often spirals into a vicious cycle of harm. But the regular problem isn't just about regular drinking, binge drinking. Drinking excessively in a short time takes the dangers to a whole new level. For men, it's consuming 5 or more drinks in 2 hours. For women, 4 or more. It's not just about the intoxication, it's about the risky behaviors, accidents, and long term health damage that follows. And when people try to quit, withdrawal symptoms can range from anxiety and tremors to life threatening seizures and delirium tremens. Imagine the courage it takes to fight through that and rebuild your life. Alcoholism is a multifaceted challenge. It's not just a habit, not just a moral failing, it's a disease, one that demands our understanding and empathy. And if we are trying to fight it, we must start by truly knowing it, what it is.
Good day, everyone. I'm Casey Cassandra. I would like to talk about the causes of alcoholism. To effectively address and combat this issue, it's crucial to understand its root causes, which can be classified into 8 distinct categories. Number one, culture influences. Cultural factors greatly influence attitudes towards drinking and consuming alcohol. Communities widely accept alcohol consumption, both socially and in terms of custom. Social and traditional events often require alcohol intake, and cultural patterns of drinking behavior sometimes compound the problem. Peer pressure. This is one of the greatest issues, especially among the youth. Friends and associates can be major contributors to drinking behavior due to the social expectation that accompany group membership. In some instances, drinking is a mark of social approbation and inclusions. Number three, stress and the mental health of individuals suffering from stress. Social, family, or taste differences, coupled with excess work related stress, can persuade an individual to resort to alcohol as a coping strategy. Self medication to elevate the symptoms of mental health challenges like anxiety, depression is common thanks to alcohol. Sadly, it is often the case that adequate mental health support is lacking. Advertising and marketing. Aggressive advertising strategies focus on the youth and other susceptible populations. The packaging and marketing of an alcoholic beverage can create the impression that drinking is desirable. Equally important, the advertising and marketing of alcohol contribute to its RAM consumption. Number five, family environment and upbringing. An individual's family setting and upbringing greatly influence their alcohol use. Cultural inheritance that Cultural inheritance can influence alcohol consumption tendency, including use and abuse. Poorly managed family settings can also lead to inappropriate use of alcohol as a coping strategy. Family members that do not provide the required guidance or care can compound the problem. Number six, economic factors. Economic factors like the cost and availability of alcohol are crucial. Alcohol is likely to have a greater impact on poor people. Differences in alcohol availability in rural and urban regions also affect the drinking pattern. Number seven, lack of education and awareness. The lack of education on the dangers of alcohol abuse is a part of the challenge. Most public awareness campaigns on alcohol problems fall short. Lack of a proper understanding of what moderation means in the drinking culture makes the problem worse. Last but not least, number eight, religion and spiritual factors. Alcohol consumption attitudes are shaped by the religion and spiritual factors. Each religion has its own views on alcohol use. Religion can serve as a deterrent or promoter of drinking, with Islam and some other religions having the opposite view. Based on the statistic on alcoholism in Malaysia, as we can see on the picture figure 1 is normalization of alcohol use in social behavior that can eventually lead to alcohol dependency, while on the figure 2 shows that the stress level of alcoholic consumption. Besides that, on the figure 3 which shows familial influences on drinking behavior. Furthermore, Figure 4, recent studies indicate that the exposure of Malaysian youth to alcohol advertisement has increased by 30%, making them more susceptible to unhealthy drinking patterns. Last but not least, Figure 5 belief factors traditionally influence Malaysia's mixed views of alcohol consumption. Especially Islam ruling on alcohol is prohibited and drinking practiced largely in Chinese and Indian communities.
Let's look into impact of alcoholism on society. Okay. The impact of alcoholism on society. The first one, the impact on family on social affair. Okay, alcohol consumption is a common denominator towards family disruption. A common consequential scenario is the father is being alcoholic, insisting domestic violence, followed by a financially responsible but uncommitted member of the family, probably financially irresponsible parents, unexplainable disagreement due to mental and personality disorder, and emotionally disturbed child. In most of the cases, the husband or wife yell at each other, which results in their relationship dissolution. And children raised um, in alcohol abuse family always grow up with childhood trauma. Okay, the second one will be impacts on healthcare budget allocation and replication. When we look into illness caused by alcohol abuse, such as like liver cirrhosis, fatty liver, is usually high in cost, and most of the treatment is not covered under insurance. Third one will be economic effect on the gross domestic product. Economic growth is impacted by higher absenteeism, which is associated with lower efficiency and productivity and workplace hazards that are frequently linked to alcoholism. And then the fourth one will be peaceful coexistence threat. When we look into this being a very quite sensitive matter, where consumption of alcohol is prohibited to Muslims and non-Muslim below the age of 20 years. Alcoholism may also result in religious and cultural conflicts in society, where alcohol abuse and its repercussion may also create debates over Malaysian laws and their implementation, causing divisions in society as a whole. Okay, the fourth one will be impact on law enforcement and crime. Okay, alcohol abuse is mostly associated with theft, vandalism, and assault cases, adding to the work of the legal and enforcement system in terms of resources.
Over the past 5 years, the issue of alcoholism in Malaysia has become an increasingly prominent public health concern, with significant application for both individuals and society. Statistics on the alcohol consumption and its associated consequences reveal worrying trends, including rising rates of alcohol-related health issues, accident, and social problems. Thus, patterns highlight on the growing impact of alcoholism on the country's healthcare system, law enforcement, and overall community well-being. I will be examining the gender difference in alcohol consumption, particularly focusing on the statistic from the past few years. What we see is a clear disparity in the rates of alcohol use between males and females. According to the recent data, 15.8% of male report alcohol consumption compared to just 6.2% of females. This highlights that alcohol use is more than twice as prevalent in males than in females. The difference also extends to adolescents with 11.1% of male and 5.5% of female aged 13 and above reporting alcohol consumption. The statistics point to significant gender-based trends that not only influence public health but also have broader social and cultural implications. So next, I'll be discussing the findings from the alcohol use disorder identification test audit, which categories responded based on their alcohol consumption habit. These tests provide valuable insight into different levels of alcohol use and help us understand the risk factor associated with alcohol-related issues. According to the audit, individuals are classified into two key categories based on their drinking habits. Those who score between 0 to 7 are considered low risk drinkers. indicating that their alcohol consumption is within a safe and manageable range. On the other hand, those who score between 8 to 20 are classified as risky drinkers or alcohol dependent, highlighting a concerning level of consumption that may lead to negative health and social consequences.
Now, let's move to alcoholism and its effect. I will be sharing about a three-article summary that related to alcohol. The first article summary is about alcohol and its health effect. Let's overview the comprehensive to health effect. So number one, alcohol act like the other drug. It can disrupt our brain function, affecting mood, thinking, and concentration. It also has a long-term effect. It can cause brain damage, memory loss, and increase the risk of mental health issues like schizophrenia. It also can affect our cardiovascular impact, like moderate alcohol consumption may have some cardiovascular benefits. However, excessive drinking can lead to dyslipidemia, which is abnormal blood. Other than that, is it also can weaken immune system. Heavy alcohol use compromise the immune system, increasing the risk of infections like pneumonia and tuberculosis. Next article summary is about alcoholism that can impact on your families. Number one, it can affect your economic strain, which is can lead to financial instability due to excessive spending on alcohol. You can also will be get potential job loss and decrease household income. Second is domestic violence. Alcohol consumption can increase the risk of aggressive behavior, leading to domestic violence and creating a hostile home environment. Third one is it will be impact on your child. Children of alcoholics are at higher risk of developing emotional and behavioral problems, including anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. Number four is spousal burden. Spouses of alcoholic often bear the brunt of household responsibilities, experiencing increased stress, loneliness, and helplessness. Number fifth is intergenerational transmission. Alcoholism has a genetic component which can increase the risk of future generation by developing alcohol dependence. So alcoholism has profound and far-reaching consequences for family, impacting economic stability, family relationship, and the emotional well-being of family members across generation. Okay, the last article is about what happened to your body if you consume too much of alcohol. Okay, number one, you will get physical health risk, which is can damage your liver, heart problem, which is it is so not good for our body. It can also cause your mental health impact, which is increased risk of depression, anxiety, and other mental health disorder. And then the third one is social and behavioral consequences, which is it can affect your job performance issue, strain personal relationship, financial difficulties, and legal problem. And the last one is alcohol use disorder. This include criteria for diagnosing AUD. You will have you need to get a treatment for this, like a counseling, medication, or support.
Bearing in mind Islam is the most dominant and official religion in Malaysia, alcohol consumption, regardless of its quantity, is prohibited. To preserve the sanctity of the Sharia law, Islamic religious authorities are empowered to enforce measures on its Islamic citizens. It has compelled us to explore the anomalies in Islam despite the stringent measures imposed on them. Moreover, limited research is present that highlights alcoholism amongst Muslims in Malaysia, mainly due to the fear of persecution. Islamic Republic of Pakistan's political egocentric clash in liberation from American imperialism has sparked a debate among spectator nations. Malaysia, similar to Pakistan in terms of external colonial influences and its Islamic doctrine foundation, our research analysis dives into how alcoholism interfaces with these values. It offers insights based on the intersectional approaches from the perspectives of Malaysia's majority religion, Islam. Historical factors such as British imperialism and individualistic features, namely independent thinking, or in philosophy known as Cartesian dualism. Cogito ergo sum, a phrase expressed by the 17th century dualism theorist René Descartes, has transcended time. René Descartes' Je pense, donc je suis has been translated as I think, therefore I am. His works in Cartesian dualism are prominent in explaining the mind and the body as parallel ideas. Mind has been expressed as a thinking substance, whereas the body is a biophysical product. Alcohol has been scientifically proven to interfere with the brain's communication pathways and brain topology. The impaired functioning of the brain due to alcoholism invalidates the brain's functionality, which infers that an intoxicated person's existence is similar to a diseased person's due to ineffective metacognition. Therefore, alcohol abstinence promotes autonomy and self control. Islam is an Abrahamic monotheistic religion. Amongst its one of its five pillars is the Shahada, which is oath in English. The Shahada in Arabic, Ashadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashadu anna Muhammad abdur Rasulullah, connotes I bear witness that there is no deity, none truly to be worshipped but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. To understand Islam's role in the Constitution, Article 3 of the Constitution states that Islam is the religion of the Federation, but other religions can also be practiced safely and peacefully in any part of the Federation. It has also been mandated in Article 160 that all ethnic Malays are Muslims. Malaysia is known for a majority of Sunni Islam followers. Malaysian Malays follow the Shafi school of thoughts. However, due to the past immigration, there are influences of other madhabs or school of thought, such as influences of Imam Hanafi Hanbali and Imam Maliki's teachings. In 2020, the Muslim population was reported to be 20.6 million, or 63.5% of the population. In 2022, national statistics revealed the population of the Bumiputra population to be 21.13 million, of which also included the non-Malay Sabah and Sarawakians. Based on my analysis, there is a discrepancy in the statistics, as there is a strong assumption, even on government forms, that Muslims are only limited to Malays. But race and religions are two distinct concepts. Take me for example. My race is Punjabi, which till now gets mixed up as an Indian, which is incorrect as Indians in Malaysia refers to South Indian origin, although Punjab is also a place from India. However, my faith has changed to Islam after I reverted to Islam. This disparity in clarity will affect our country's senses in decision making, and it is time that everyone, including government officials, get this right. Also, there is no available nationwide data on foreign and Malay mullahs and Malaysian mullahs to quantify the number of Malaysian and non-Malaysian Muslims. To add on to the complexity of further understanding alcoholism in Malaysia, its Islamic majority population is prohibited from the consumption of intoxicants as declared explicitly in the Quran in Surah Al Maidah, stating that this is Satan's foreplay, deviating Muslims from praying to Allah and performing obligatory prayers. Therefore, the consumption of alcohol in the Islamic community is haram, or in English, forbidden. When discussed in relation to Islam, alcohol consumption illustrates a major sin, as its engagement nullifies a Muslim's prayers for 40 days unless there is willing repentance. However, please note that this repentance can only be done as to a maximum of only 3 times and then will be invalidated. The quantification of intoxicant substances necessitates the same aforementioned consequences in Islam, disregarding the volume of the amount consumed. Islam, being established as the state's official religion, regards consumption of alcohol as spiritual impurity and debilitates a Muslim's soul, preventing a Muslim from performing his religious obligations. Islam asserts fitra, in English, which would be natural disposition, and highlights that consumption of alcohol disrupts the ecosystem created by Allah, leading to the possibility of self harm or public nuisance. A literature published by Nick Shuhaira in 2024 explored the elite Malay Kamar drinkers in Malaysia, which is a taboo as alcohol consumption is a sin in accordance with the Sharia law. It has also been mentioned that drinking was considered one of the royal customs before the prevalence of Islam in the 15th century. Then the undeniable amalgamation of Malays and Muslim culture happened, and hence alcohol became a prohibition. It was also brought to attention by Muhammad Izwan that there has been underreporting of Sharia related crimes by elite Malay drinkers, which is why no court proceedings have been initiated. No such data is even available from the Islamic religious authorities. While a secular legal system applies to all, the Sharia law regulates the Muslims' activities in enacting Sharia compliant regulations. Alcohol is only legalized for non Muslims aged above 21. The Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, JAKIM, governs Islamic compliant rules and regulations pertaining to public and family life, whereas the National Fatwa Council overlooks rulers to issue fatwas, which is an official statement or order from an Islamic religious leader. Malaysia's active membership in the Commonwealth of Nations post independence substantiates its unique history as a former British territory. We have endured 430 years of colonialism. The timeline begins with the Portuguese in 1511, the Dutch in 1641, the British in 1824, followed by the Japanese in 1941. As reported, British colonization was the longest. The pre independence plan was five colonies consisting of Malaya, Singapore, Sabah, Sarawak, and Brunei, equals to one country. Thereafter, post independence in 1963, four colonies, one country consisting of Malaya, Sabah, Sarawak, and Singapore. And in 1967, after the split of Singapore with the Malayan territory, it ended with three colonies becoming one country, Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak, hence the Malaysia we have today. As reported in Malaysia's annals, the British colonization was the longest as compared to the Japanese, Portuguese, and the Dutch. Alcohol sale has gained notoriety as a tool in the building of the British Empire. Despite its negative connotation, the alcoholic influence of British imperialism expanded revenue streams of indigenous cultures, which proved to be a prosperous venture for them. The trickle down effect of alcoholism led to a drastic transformation in which subjugated people who were addicted and past practices were looked down upon, substituting the British view of alcohol as a superior alternative. As a consequence, indigenous practices were suppressed, eroding cultural attributes, and consumption of intoxicants garnered acceptance. Alcoholism was a problem that was never ours, but instead it was created by our British colonizers as a global domination tool. As a result, today we have inherited this exploitation as a colonial legacy, and its repercussions are being dealt with as Malaysians. Both school of thoughts, the Islamic and the Cartesian dualism, view alcohol as a personal moral failing. To note that as much as our British colonizers marketed alcohol consumption as an emblem of opulence, a negative perception was formed once it became the cause for social order and addiction in indigenous communities.
I'll be diving into a topic that intertwines cultural identity, morality, and governance. How the Rukun Negara's principle guide our understanding and response to alcoholism in Malaysia. This isn't just about laws or personal struggles. It's about how we as a society unite our moral values to create a harmonious future. Let's begin with the first principle, belief in God. In Malaysia, this principle isn't just about faith, it's a foundation for moral and spiritual guidance. Imagine this, an individual struggling with addiction, isolated, and lost. Now, picture them finding strength through prayer, meditation, and teachings of their faith. Faith-based workshops and religions gathering offer more than hope. They provide practical tools for discipline and recovery. They replace harmful habits with the positive one, creating a sense of belonging in most temple and church. But it doesn't stop there. The power of religious communities lies in their ability to offer immediate support, reducing isolation and anchoring recovery in hope and resilience. This principle isn't just a belief, it's a roadmap to healing woven into the fabric of our multicultural society. Now, let's explore the second principle, loyalty to the king and country. In Malaysia, the dual legal system reflects our commitment to justice and harmony. While the secular legal system governs all citizens, Sharia law ensures that Muslims adhere to regulations aligned with their faith. For Muslims, abstaining from alcohol isn't just a personal decision. It's an act of loyalty to His Majesty, the King, who embodies the values of Islam. But here's where the challenge lies. There's often a disconnect between secular and religious frameworks in addressing alcoholism. How do we bridge this gap? By fostering cooperation between these regiments, this isn't just about laws, it's about creating a society where justice, equality, and responsibility coexist. Through unity and understanding, we can honor the principle of Rukun Negara and build a Malaysia that thrives on harmony. In conclusion, the Rukun Negara principle of belief in God and loyalty to the king and country offer profound insight into addressing alcoholism. By aligning personal values with national ideals, we can move towards a society that uplifts individuals, strengthens communities, and uphold the cultural and moral fabric of Malaysia.
Before diving into our reflection, let me ask, how often do we confront the realities of alcohol addiction without bias? As a group, we found ourselves grappling with this question as we explored alcoholism through Malaysia's rich cultural and religious diversity. What we discovered wasn't just enlightening, it was transformative. Our discussion highlighted the complexity of alcoholism in Malaysia's multicultural society. Despite our differing backgrounds, we reached a shared understanding. Alcoholism is not just a personal failing, but a public health crisis. To address it, we must prioritize education and medical intervention over moral judgment. We realized that victims of alcohol use disorder, AUD, need compassion, not blame. Many fall into addiction unknowingly, with withdrawal symptoms amplifying their struggles. Alcoholism is not a crime, it's a disease requiring medical care and community support. Stigma often silences victims, preventing them from seeking help. For Muslims, criminalization adds another layer of difficulty. Reflecting on Islamic principles of mercy, we concluded that rehabilitation over punishment, especially for the first time offenders, fosters recovery, aligns with our shared values. Alcoholism isn't just an individual issue, it's a social challenge. Tackling it requires empathy, understanding, collective action. Together, we can create a Malaysia that values recovery over judgment and compassion over stigma.
Our reflection on the assignment. Working together in groups was fascinating and collaborative. The diverse perspective and thoughts from each participant enhanced our writing. Despite disagreements, being inclusive helped us draft a report that reflected the group's view. Our time and effort shows our dedication. Refinement included finding important aspects that convey information clearly and truly. The focus was on Malaysian major religions Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, and Buddhism. We knew excluding minority religion was ignorance. Our balanced research strategy reflects modern Malaysian society inclusiveness. The assignment alerted us about alcoholism impact. Integration several views into a single story was difficult yet rewarding. This task improved our group's critical thinking, teamwork, and empathy.
Okay. Let's look into solution on alcoholism. Okay. Addressing the Malaysian alcoholism problem requires a comprehensive and multifaceted approach that tackles its root causes while mitigating its adverse effects on individuals, families, and society. The following solutions focus on public awareness, strengthening community support system, implementing policy interventions, and fostering cultural and economic balance. Instead of relying on a sole party for reformation, joint effort is required by the working of interdependence in an ecosystem. Okay. Okay, let's look into solution on alcoholism. The first will be regulate alcohol outlet density, which alcohol outlet density refer to the places that can legally sell alcohol within a certain area or based on certain population size. The second one will be increase alcohol taxation. Alcohol taxes like excise and valorum based on value or sales taxes all affect the prices of alcohol. Taxes on alcohol can be at federal, state, or local levels. The third one will be dram shop and liability premises. Okay. Dram shop liability refers to a premises selling alcohol and are responsible for the infliction of injuries or harms due to serving customer onto whom alcohol consumption has been criminalized. These include Muslim and non-Muslims under 21 years old of old age and intoxicated. For example, a place could be liable for a death caused by an alcohol-related motor vehicle crash due to permitting alcohol purchase to an already intoxicated person. The fourth one will be limitation time for alcohol sales. Okay, limiting when people can buy alcohol can lower alcohol related consequences. States or communities may limit the days or hours that alcohol retailers can legally sell or serve alcohol to minimize public nuisance. Okay, let's look into the next point. Use of electronic screening and brief intervention, ESBI. Okay, this one ESBI suggests using electronic devices such as computer or mobile devices to identify if someone has drunk excessively. Also, it poses as a brief intervention to help those who drink excessively to begin reducing. ESBI can be performed in various settings, including workplaces, universities, or even in healthcare premises. Okay, the next one will be increased enforcement of laws that prohibit sales to minors. Okay, an enhanced enforcement program encourage compliance checks at places like bars, restaurants, and liquor stores to lower underage drinking. A compliance check is when local law enforcement or alcohol control agencies make sure that places are not selling alcohol to people under age of 21 years old. Places discovered participating in trading alcohol to underage people will be imposed penalties. Okay, the last one will be avoid further privatization of retail alcohol sales. Okay, this one, like privatizing retail alcohol sales, mean removing state, country, or city government to control over alcohol sales in retail store. This isn't recommended because it can increase the amount of alcohol people drink.
Okay, now let's get to the last presentation, which is our conclusion. Okay, to summarize our finding, alcoholism in Malaysia, it is exploring its social, cultural, and philosophical roots, which is including the influence of Islam, colonization, and Cartesian dualism. It examines the detrimental impact of alcoholism on public health, family, economy, and society. So the report proposes a multifaceted approach to address alcoholism, including public awareness campaign, community support, and strict policy interventions. It emphasized the need for cultural unity and a blend of traditional value with modern public health measures to create a healthier future for Malaysia. Thank you.